Hi, I'm Brian Willard from Lincoln, Nebraska. I was an administrative assistant in the Salvation Army in Lincoln, Nebraska. Looked over Heat Share program for Black Hills Energy and also the Salvation Army Heat Share program. They're a combination of the two. We need our Attorney General to look into it because they misuse that money. Task67.com is my website. I investigate charity fraud, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a lot of fire here. So if you know anybody who had utility assistance problems in the past and been denied or had their uh, heat shut off, that should not have happened because there's plenty of money here to provide people with assistance. It's just not being doled out like it's supposed to. I was in the Salvation Army Lincoln Corps here in Lincoln, Nebraska. They have an agreement with Black Hills Energy. Black Hills Energy Cares Utility Assistance Program, what they do is they solicit money from their customers on their heat bills. So say your heat bill's $90, you may round that up to 100, and they take that $10, give it to the Salvation Army. Here in the state of Nebraska, it's the Salvation Army anyway. And the Salvation Army is supposed to take that $10 and then distribute it to people who qualify for that assistance. This was not the case, unfortunately, as I found out the longer I was there at the Salvation Army. And we had gone through 3 social service directors while I was there, and several caseworkers. One caseworker retired saying she didn't know, what her job was. All she did all day was basically tell everybody no, tell them other agencies that they could go seek assistance. We had a social service director and a Pathway HOPA director. Both had the same story of a family who came in the winter months. She was sleeping in her car. Her and her family would actually sleep in their car on the coldest nights in the winter because they didn't have heat in their house, and they were seeking heat assistance. Well, Black Hills Energy deferred revenue account at the Salvation Army in Lincoln, Nebraska at the time had over $103,000 in deferred revenue there, and that's according to their detailed ledger that I looked up. One thing that they would do is they would take a walk for warmth check. This is a $16,000 some odd dollar check to be used in the winter months. And what the Salvation Army did with this, what my boss did with this, after I told him he wasn't supposed to, I talked to the accountants at divisional headquarters in Omaha, Nebraska. This money was not to be used for operational expenses. It was to be used during the winter months for people like this lady who slept in her car. My boss put this money in the general account. Once that money's in the general account, he can use it however he wants. He can use it to expense to pay employees, XYZ, whatever. So I had tried over and over again, because I was also on the advisory board. Black Hills Energy has a employee on the advisory board for the Salvation Army, Brandy Johnson. She's a program manager here in Lincoln. She came to 0 advisory board meetings in the 10 months I was there, and she returned 0 of my calls. And I'd reach out to her. I say, we're getting all this money from you guys from your Black Hills Energy. So this is your clients. These are your employees. Your employees are also allowed to donate money on their paychecks to help people. I said, we're not doing this. Can you talk to me? And I wouldn't get anywhere with her. After my time at the Salvation Army, I raised as much hell as I could right into the Attorney General and stuff. I finally got Black Hills Energy Customer Experience Program Manager Tiffany. I don't recall her last name. I believe it started with a P, but she had told me that they were only helping that they had found out through my complaint to the Attorney General on the Salvation Army that the Salvation Army was using Black Hills Energy money to only help 200 people in entire years. So, and I actually recorded that conversation, and I put it on my website, task67.com. I also have a recording of an internal auditor in Omaha, Nebraska. He didn't know I was recording him, but I was talking to him about the same thing. And he's saying to me about his boss. He says, I went to my boss. I said, we got $100,000 and some odd dollars in unspent grants And I said, they haven't done hardly anything about this. And so I have that conversation. I have the caseworker. I have social service director conversations. Nebraska is a one-party state. So what I was told when I started there, I was tipped off that they were, doing things like this, is that I could record somebody as long as, the recorder was in my physical possession. I couldn't leave the recorder in my boss's office and then come back a week later and grab all the stuff off of it. So I've got audio conversations with different people just throughout the course of my day, and it's just really has sickened me. Black Hills Energy did finally reach out. They said, we're on track to help 2,000 people per year now, where we were only helping 200 before. But my thing is, this program's been going on for 13 years. If you go on their website, they brag about $6.8 million in assistance been going out to people. Well, that's not $6.8 million in assistance going out to people if other states are doing the same thing as our state. I mean, they're in 8 different states. How many years in the past has the Salvation Army in across the whole entire state of Nebraska been taking money from them? And they can claim that they're good, that they're doing all these great things, but according to Black Hills Energy themselves, there's 93 counties in Nebraska. So if you're helping 200 families across the entire state, and there's 93 counties, you're helping a little over 2 people, per county. And I would get lists while I was there at the Salvation Army of all the different counties and all the different donations. So you can see almost every single county is giving, donations, small amounts in some of the smaller counties. But I know for a fact that my original concern was Salvation Army Lincoln, because there was a huge problem there. Black Hills Energy confirmed that. But I when I went to the Attorney General the second time with my concern with a complaint solely on Black Hills Energy, because I was saying, well, in Lincoln we keep track of Saline County too, which will be Crete, Nebraska. Well, Crete, Nebraska is bringing in, people like me and you say we lived in Crete and we wanted to help our fellow man. They're bringing in a little over $1,000 in an entire year to help people with Black Hills Energy. The thing is why I thought this would be so simple for the Attorney General, and this is why now I'm trying to go public instead, because the Attorney General seems like it's politics. $0 of that went to help anybody. Every single person who donated money to help anybody in Crete, Nebraska on their Black Hills Energy bill, 0% of that went to helping anybody. As far as this Tiffany that I talked to most recently, they've corrected that situation going on, but what about the past 13 years? Where's all this money? All these customers have been donating thinking that they're helping people, and in almost all cases that they're not. So that's kind of what I'm just trying to get it out into the court of public opinion. Back in 2018, five other people from the Salvation Army, former business administrator, former advisory board chair, two advisory board members, the former community center director, went to the Attorney General, Doug Peterson in Nebraska, with this as one of many different concerns. So they've known about this for 4 years now. Black Hills, I guess, is just starting to do something about it now. I don't know why it's taken them so long. And, it's just, they could be just telling me whatever I want to hear too, just because I'm causing problems. Because, you look at it like an Antelope County or a Butler County or some of these little tiny counties, there's small amounts of money, but you're asking people to donate to something that's not helping anyone. And what I don't know this for sure, but what a lot of advisory board members and people who are familiar with the case thinks what happened is the Salvation Army's church side of their organization loses money. So, while I was there, before I left, there was a $200,000 transfer in the Union Bank and Trust from the reserve account. Well, why did they transfer $200,000 when they're sitting on $100,000 that they should have spent helping people in the winter months on this alone? But they're transferring that to a interest-bearing account for their church. So I would really want we're getting a new Attorney General here in Nebraska in 2022. This is the election year. Our current Attorney General is not running for re-election. When people originally went to him with their complaints, it was 2018 he was going for re-election. And as far as what everybody says that I think might know something, says it's politics and stuff like that. So we're getting a new attorney general. I would like Black Hills Energy to push the Salvation Army, because they've entrusted the Salvation Army. I'm sure they probably don't want this headache, and this is why they give it to a nonprofit to do. They solicit the money, they give it to nonprofits. They're in 8 different states. Salvation Army operates in 4 of those states. So there's Arkansas and Nebraska. The Salvation Army handles 100% of their Black Hills Energy money. So those 2 states alone should have a 13-year forensic audit into the Black Hills CARES and the Salvation Army Heat Share utility program, because there's proof that they haven't used the funds here in Nebraska in almost all 93 counties across Nebraska. So that's my concern, and that's why I was, writing complaints on, where I thought maybe I'd get somebody's ear. The solution that would satisfy me would be if the Attorney General would do a 13-year forensic audit into the Salvation Army Heat Share program and the Black Hills Energy CARES utility program, so we could find out. And I'm not so sure that he's not doing it, because I have sent these complaints. Other people have too. All they can say is that they cannot comment on an ongoing investigation. So then I say, well, okay, is it an ongoing investigation? We can't comment on that either. So we don't know what's going on here, but it just needs to be in the court of public opinion somehow. I really don't know the exact answer without the Attorney General doing it, because it's his job. It's the Attorney General's job to police nonprofit organizations. And what I'd also ask is the Black Hills Energy customers, if you're donating money on your bill, I would ask of you to ask the Black Hills Energy for proof that they're doing what they say they're doing, and they're not just taking your money and giving it to these nonprofit charities. And they shouldn't have Black Hills Energy staff on the boards of these charities that are giving away their money, especially if they don't even come to any of the meetings. Because I went to every single meeting for 10 months. Brandy Johnson was a Black Hills Energy advisory board member for the Salvation Army. She came to 0 meetings, none, not one single time. And she returned 0 of my calls, especially when I went to her, because this for sure, this $16,000 Walk for Warmth check, I wrote to her over and over and over and over again, because I knew my boss put that money into the general account, and I knew it was supposed to be used to help people with heat assistance. So, and I think it was February of 2020 is when our deferred revenue account had $103,000 in it. So you add this to it. By the time I left the Salvation Army, they probably had $130,000, $140,000 in unspent money from Black Hills Energy while I was there. And it's just like, blows my mind. They would help people, don't get me wrong, but it's such a minute amount. And then you look at all the other counties. Saline County, for sure, they help 0 people. 0 people, that's a pretty easy case to prove. So I think the Attorney General should take that, so he could audit all the Salvation Armies that have been getting money across the entire state of Nebraska. And then also the ones in Arkansas, the ones in Kansas, and the ones in South Dakota. Kansas, Salvation Army handles the Kansas City area. So that's a lot of money. I just want someone to look into it.